Right.
You know, there are folks that they make their living running campaigns, but they don't really, it doesn't matter if they win or lose. They get paid regardless.
Right.
That's right.
They're not invested. They're not fully invested in the outcome.
No. And see, I you know, one of the things that's kind of mind-blowing is I said, you know, we could save county parties a lot of money. We've got a permit, a mailing permit. I could either help county parties get this mailing permit or make ours available to them. You can mail first-class mail for, you know, we could charge a slight, you know, upcharge. But, you know, you're talking about 1/4 of the cost as sending it normal stamp mail,
Right.
in the 9 to 12 cent range. Well, the consultants were typically availing themselves, like working out deals with the state party and getting their permit. And you'll notice, if you see the mailers that have come out over the years, they'll say, paid for by the Democrat Party, our permit, and then go look at what was charged. So somebody is making money off our nonprofit mail permit, and it's not the state party and it's not the county parties. That is the focus of most of the problems that I've had, is that I advocated for positions that people did not think were popular because they don't see how they make money on it. They do not make money doing organizing of counties. Writing a county organization plan, even if you're a consultant and you got paid, I don't know, $20,000 to do it, there's no residual. You don't get paid over and over again. So it's not popular or sexy. It's not like doing big media and you make a 15% markup. That's the ultimate problem. See, I think we need good and valuable and smart people involved. I'm a contractor. I'm a developer. Built green neighborhoods. I mean, I'm living in the neighborhood I built now. But I told them straight up, I said, I'm not picking on you as consultants saying you're bad. I employ contractors, whether they're architects, engineers, you know, paving companies, grading companies. So we own them, and we used to lay water and sewer. I said, it's not that. It's just when I have somebody that designs me a road and it fails, I go find out why it fails, and we rectify the problem. And if there's a problem with the person, they keep designing things that are bad, they don't work for us.
Mm.
So if you have people that keep producing bad results, they shouldn't work for you.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You know, when you came in, you had to work with an entirely different set of people, an entirely different set of consultants, because you got to be able to work with somebody that you trust. You got to be able to trust who you work with.
That's right.
And I don't think you should change. Let me ask you this: while we're talking about consultants, there's been a lot in the mail, in the news about Mike Carmichael and the corporation that he formed, the consulting firm with Ben Chavis, and the contractual agreement that you had or that the party had with that firm. Can you speak on that a little bit and tell me what happened?
Sure, I'll speak on it. First of all, Michael goes way back in North Carolina politics. I met him years ago. He and Ben met at UNC Charlotte. Michael was the only, he's a native Southerner, long history, the only white person that joined the Black Student Union, I believe, at UNC Charlotte. And they were probably there in 1968, 67, 68. Michael then became, they worked together. He became close with, a legend in North Carolina politics, Charlie Smith, who, goes back to JFK. And Michael was a mentee of Charlie Smith, and then worked very closely with Rufus Edmondson and was in his office, back in the 70s, the Attorney General's office. And he worked on a number of campaigns, Jordan campaign, I think Ingram, Jimmy Carter, so forth and so on. And eventually, after Rufus lost for governor in 84, he went over to England and he was overseas and didn't come back until 2007. And I think at that point he became connected with Kucinich. So he's a fairly progressive guy, and it was through him that I met Dennis Kucinich, actually.
Oh, well. I'm drinking out of a mug.
Kucinich mug right now. Ironically, I wanted to bring Dennis Kucinich down here to speak, and Nina and those folks kiboshed it. I mean, I've been having all these internal wrestles. They didn't want Bernie Sanders either. So I think they're wrong. I said, look, you're not going to get people excited if you keep sending out the same oatmeal. I mean, you have to send out something that people want to get excited about. So Michael was doing work with the party, helping when I got in, like any other transition group. and I'm a business person. I said, look, form an LLC. He asked Ben. Ben really had nothing to do with the company. That was mainly, Michael. It's kind of like two old, college friends saying, hey, CNC, like it was a dream of Michael's that they would work together. Ben's a national figure.
Yeah.
So Ben had absolutely zero to do with that little entity. The entity, I don't even think made a profit. Essentially, he just wanted to be billed for, receive compensation for some expenses, and some of the work, he put lots of work in. Just like if you had come to me and said, George Fisher Communications, and every one of their brother had something that they come in and they do, and they get paid to do it. I mean, Tiffany Richardson has been working there, and she was Elaine Marshall's, in the whole Count State coordinated campaign person, and I hired her to do fundraising, and she resigned last week, but nobody seems to giving her any grief or blaming the Council of State, for that. She was getting paid, their money. I mean, this is just rank hypocrisy on their part. So the guy got paid for some of the money he worked. The big bitch is this. When Frank Eaton shot that video and made, and defamed Michael, and then Michael reacted and sued him because there was, false elements, in the video about him, then eventually, we got into that situation where I mediated with those folks and said, look, I don't want to keep having fights with people. I just want peace. I want to move on. We came to an agreement, and I said, look, if this is going to be what it takes, I'll terminate, CC and Associates, so they're no longer working with the party. Fine. I thought if I did all, and in return, they put in the agreement. They support the chair. They're going to support, getting, electing Kay Hagan and working hard in 2013, 2014. I sacrificed everything to get them on the agreement to sign on to party unity, because I thought that was the most important thing, unity over the individual.
Yeah.
So there still was some money owed to Carmichael, right? Now, when he came back and he sent an invoice, and Robert the previous ED, wasn't paying it. And that went on for months and months and months. And you can ask, Michael's partner is an elected official in Orange County, Renee Price. It's county commissioner. You can ask Renee. She called me about it. It's not, they wanted to know why the party was not honoring their bills. And so I finally went and said, look, Michael, I think if you look at when you did get paid back in May, an argument could be made that you need to cut this bill in half, because really this just covers that period from May 1st to June 15th when your contract ended, because at that point you were contracted for $3,000 a month to provide, these services, which included videos and various things that were being produced. Right. And I said, so you're not going to get the full $9, because I think that you were just working for $1,000 a month for the first 3 months, and that's what Casey and I all recall. So it's fair, and he agreed. Now, the previous ED never even tried to negotiate. He just sat on it and didn't want to deal with it. So if you were a contractor and you were owed money for 6 months, you'd be getting pissed. So I finally just wanted to just get this done. I'll get it done for I can justify why you shouldn't get paid, and that ended it. It only had to do with what was before June 15th. Just the fact that it got paid in December was the fact that, our NCDP had sat on the bill. By the way, they still haven't paid the bill for the Western Gala. I'm pretty sure that those folks are going to be beating down the door too. There's a lot of things that they left in our lap again.
Yeah.
Because I had been questioning, what are the profit and loss numbers on our events? We don't seem to be making any money. Why? Okay. So, this whole thing is essentially, in my opinion, just another way to impugn people falsely, to throw sand in their eyes, when in fact it's just like any other vendor, and they're doing it and then trying to ensnare, Dr. Chavis, who had nothing to do with it, zero. Maybe if he came down here and he was working down here, they might have been able to do something, but it was mainly Ben lent his name and said, okay, if I move back to North Carolina, we'll do work together. And that was that. It's this pretty simple thing. There's no conspiracy. There's no controversy. It's a self-created controversy because someone like Thomas Mills wants to use it in order to distract people. Now, ironically, Thomas ran Elaine's campaign in 2010.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
In fact, most of these consultants that are throwing all these punches, as I told the writer for the Charlotte Observer, I said, ask them what their track record is. They never seem to tell you how much they win or if they win.
Mm. Yeah, they don't give them.
They just want to throw punches at other people.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take. Now, go ahead, Randy. Finish your thought.
I mean, those are all legitimate questions, and I feel as if I'm happy to answer them. But I feel I've told you more now than you probably wanted to hear. But look, my view is I'm just going to tell you the truth. That's the truth. Nobody can refute that.
That's important. Chairman Voller, can you hang on the line with some folks that are listening? We're going to take a break, and I'd love to open up the line with you. Okay, just hang tight, everybody. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. You're listening to the Social Spitball Show with your host, Bram Sarkowski, and featuring George Fisher and Barbara D'Antonio. We'll be right back. Stay on the line.